This workout is going to focus on lower back pain, just working through flexibility and building strength to take tension away from that lumbar spine area, the tension you have in that lower back. Now, quite often you have back pain caused through previous injury or maybe being out of alignment. You should stand with a nice neutral spine, but if you're out of alignment, it can just cause tension and stress on other parts of your body, particularly your lower back. Now, this workout is going to be with progressions. So as you build your flexibility and strength, you can progress over time. So we're going to get into that perfect posture and we're going to build all those muscles around your spine, build all those core muscles that are attached to your spine, and we're going to build strength and we're going to build flexibility. So in order to get that neutral spine, you lengthen up. You're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head, orange underneath your chin. Roll your shoulders back. Imagine you're putting your shoulders in your back pockets. Pubic bone, hip bone, completely vertical. So you just have to tuck your tailbone under slightly. Knees hip width apart with a slight micro bend. Now try to pull your belly button spine. Don't move your belly at all as you breathe wide and forward into the rib cage, thoracic breathing. So your spine is now in that perfect posture and we're going to build all those core muscles that sit around your spine. So it's going to give you that perfect alignment, so you're not going to cause tension anywhere else. You're not going to become unaligned and cause stress on the other parts of your body, particularly your lumbar spine, your lower back. Now we start to roll our shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, open up your chest. Now squeeze the shoulder blades together and put your shoulders in your back pockets. Imagine you have a pencil shooting out from the side of your shoulders. So we're just opening up our chest, releasing all the tension we hold in our shoulders. So we're just warming up at the moment. And forward. A big circles in your shoulders. Imagine there's a pencil shooting out from the side of your shoulders. And we're drawing a perfect circle. Relax your arms, relax your hands. All the movements in the shoulders. And back to center. We're going to hold onto our shoulders. We're lengthening up, pulling our belly button to the spine, so we still have that perfect posture. And we're going to start just to increase the stretch across the shoulders by touching our elbows together. You're still pulling your belly button to the spine. You have that neutral alignment. You're being lengthened by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Touch your shoulders. And you're touching your elbows together and in the opposite direction, squeezing your shoulder blades together and opening up your chest. And back to center. We're just going to rotate our upper spine. Hips are set in stone, headlights out in front. Palm to palm, shoulder width apart. Pull that belly button spine, lengthen up, micro bend in the knees. And we open up our book. Hips are set in stone, rotation of your upper spine only. Lengthen your arms away from each other. Pull your belly button spine. You're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head and back to center. If you want to, you can have a resistance band in your hand. Lengthen your arms away from each other. So you might have a band in your hand just as you progress over time. So open up your book, rotation of your upper spine. Your head follows your hand. Lengthen your arms away from each other. You're a cork being pulled out of a bottle. Pull your belly button spine. Those hips are headlights out in front. Don't move your hips. Rotation of your upper spine only. And one more, lengthen your arms away from each other. And back to center. Now we're do spine twist. So if you want to, as you progress over time, you can stand on your tiptoes. So you pray your hands, your forefingers underneath your chin, your thumb is on your sternum. Take a breath in, as you breathe out, you rotate. And as you rotate, this is progression. You can come up onto your tiptoes. Hips are set in stone, rotation of your upper spine only, and over to the other side. You don't have to come on your tiptoes, or you can stay on your tiptoes, challenging your balance a little bit more. Rotation of your upper spine. You're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. You think you cannot come any further, but you can come an extra few millimeters. Hips are set in stone. So really lengthen up. Pull your belly button to the spine and back to center. We'll do one more either side. You're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Pulling your belly button to the spine. Shoulders are always down your back pocket. Whatever position you're in, whether standing, lying, on your side, on your front, on your back, you abide by the rules of Pilates, lengthening up, orange underneath your chin. Your shoulders are always down your back pocket. You're always in that perfect alignment. Now lengthen up. We're stretching muscles in our neck. So just put a little bit of pressure on your head. Thumb your fist down to the floor and away. Look down. And I can feel a deep stretch in the muscles in my neck. And back to center. And I just put a little bit of pressure on your head. Look down, thumb your fist down and away. And back to center. Now we do lateral side flexion. So you're going to lengthen your arms away from each other. Pull your belly button spine, shoulders down your back pocket. Lengthen your arms away from each other. Lengthen through the shoulder joints. Relax the muscles, your hands, relax the muscles in your arms, and we lengthen through the shoulder joints. Tuck the tailbone under, pull your belly button spine. If you've got a little bit of too much pressure in your lumbar spine, hold on to your hip. If not, lengthen your arm down your thigh. And back to center. We do the other side, lengthen. If you get a little bit of pressure on your lumbar spine, hold on to your hip, or lengthen your arms away from each other. Shoulders down your back pocket. Your chest is out in front, shoulders down your back pocket, pull your belly button spine, micro bend in the knees, lengthen through the shoulder joints, you get a deeper stretch. And back to center. Now we're going to do a few rollovers. Normally we dive over the ball and roll down, but we're going to keep a flat back today just to protect that lumbar spine. So you're going to part your legs, and your feet are going to be out at 45 degrees. And you can either hold on to your thighs or your elbows can come onto your thighs. So maybe this is first level. Over time, progression, you can put your elbows on your thighs. Now, you've got to stick your bottom out for this one. Lift up your chest, pull your belly button to the spine, melt that rib cage into the mat. Really melt the rib cage in. So my feet are at 45 degrees and I'm sticking out my bottom flat back, and we're going to do a roll down and roll up. Pull your belly button spine. Feel you melting that rib cage into the mat. Either hold on to your thighs or your elbows are on your thighs. So I'm going to hold on to my thighs for this one. I'm sticking out my bottom, pull your belly button to the spine. Dip your chin to your chest, pull your belly button to the spine, and it's your upper spine that rolls up. Then I come back down, flat back. I'm holding on to my thighs. I'm sticking out my bottom. Keeping a nice straight back. Pull my belly button spine. Really think about melting that rib cage. Dip your chin to your chest. Pull your belly button spine. Really suck in that rib cage and C-curve that thoracic spine, the upper spine. So we're keeping a nice flat back. We're protecting that lumbar spine. So we're going to come down again. We're sticking out our bottom. I'm holding on to my thighs, or you might put your elbows on your knees, sticking out your bottom, dip your chin to your chest and roll that thoracic spine back up. Your upper spine, your upper back, thoracic. So I'm now sticking out my bottom, pulling my belly button spine, melting that rib cage, dip my chin to my chest, pull my belly button spine, melting the rib cage and roll back up. And back to center. And just roll out your shoulders one way and the other. Right, we're going to come down to the mat now. So obviously it's quite difficult to get down onto the mat if you have tension in your lower back. So step forward, hold on to your thigh and come down to the mat. And we're going to go straight into 4-point kneeling. So this is a really great tension release. Come around the other side. So now this 4-point kneeling, we're going to first of all really stretch it out to release lots of tension you're holding in your lumbar spine, and also just getting all the blood flowing. So again, you've got to be in the perfect posture. Make sure your hips are stacked over your knees, hip width apart. Your shoulders are stacked over the palms of your hand, shoulder width apart. You have a broomstick running from your head to your tailbone. Pull your belly button to the spine. We start with a catch stretch. Dip your chin to your chest. Imagine you've got a piece of string pulling you from the belly button to the spine. Tuck the tailbone under, scoop the pelvis, dip your chin to your chest and push into your palms. Cat, really stretching the muscles in your back. And back to 4-point kneeling. Stick out your bottom, pull your belly button to the spine, look down in the mirror, cow. We do another cat stretch. Dip your chin to your chest. You're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. Really push into those palms. Tuck the tailbone under. Scoop that pelvis. Pull your belly button to the spine and back to 4-point kneeling and stick out your bottom. Pull your belly button to the spine. Cow, and back to 4-point kneeling. Now we're just going to do thread the needle, rotation of the upper spine, hips are set in stone. So right hand threads underneath left. Now really lengthen that arm away before you try to hit your shoulder on the mat. It doesn't matter if your shoulder doesn't come on the mat. And try to push into that left hand, deepening the stretch by rotating your upper spine. Now progression over the weeks, you lengthen out your left leg and then you can lengthen and lift your left leg. This is progression, so you don't want to work through any pain. Don't work through any pain. You might find one side easier than the other. Now you're going to unthread. So progression, you can lengthen your left leg out. But remember, this is a progression, so you don't have to use your leg at all. Lengthen your right arm out to the side or up to the ceiling. The point that's good for you. Don't work through pain. So it might be comfortable to have your arm out to the right or up to the ceiling. The position that's good for you. And come back to centre. We do the other side, left under right. Really lengthen the arm away. Progression, you can lengthen your leg or lengthen and lift. But keep those hips completely flat, horizontal. I'm pushing into my right hand to rotate my spine a bit more, deepen the stretch. I can swing my right leg out to the side, but it's a progression, don't work through any pain. Lengthen your arm out to the side or up to the ceiling, pushing into that right hand, rotation of your upper spine, lengthen your arms away from each other. So we're just getting everything flexed at the moment, releasing all that tension you're holding in your lumbar spine. Pull your belly button to the spine and back to centre. We're going to come into a child's pose. So knees can be mat width apart altogether. You sit on your heels as you lengthen your arms forward, pushing your chest into the mat. Cat stretch, stretching all the muscles in your glutes, your back and your arms. Push your chest into the mat and walk those hands forward, trying to sit on your heels. Step over to 2 o'clock, or 10 o'clock, if you can. And I'm still walking my hands forward, trying to sit on my heels. Right hand on left, lengthening, lengthening. I feel a deep stretch down my right side of my back. Now I'm stepping over to 12, pulling your belly button to the spine, and then I'm stepping over to 2. Left hand on right. Now I'm walking those hands forward, pushing my chest into the mat, and I'm sitting on my heels, feeling a deep stretch in my glutes, in my back, in my arms. Just releasing all that tension, getting everything completely flexible. And back to centre, and C-curve your spine and squeeze your glutes, and come back up to 4-point kneeling. Now we're going to work on stability now, and we're going to do 4-point kneeling swimming. And again, you're stacked, you're in position. So this one is a really great one to release lots of tension, to really get yourself mobile, but also it's working on building that strength in your core. So make sure you're stacked, pull your belly button spine. It's really important you're hip width apart and shoulder width apart. Take a breath in as you breathe out, lengthen opposite arm and leg away. Relax the muscles in the leg, relax the muscles in the arm, come up to hip height, shoulder height, pull your belly button spine, and we're going to hold it for a few seconds. Pull your belly button to the spine, sort of try to figure out where your limbs are. Pull your belly button to the spine, look down in the mirror. Total stability of the main trunk of my body. Imagine you're balancing a ball on your lumbar spine, and back to centre. Take a breath in as you breathe out, lengthen out your opposite arm and leg, shoulder height, hip height, pull your belly button to the spine. Now lengthen through those joints. You get a deeper stretch if you lengthen through the hip joint, shoulder joint, relaxing the muscles in the legs and arms, and you're holding it for a few seconds, and back to centre. We're carrying on doing that. We're holding it for a few seconds. Pull your belly button to the spine. Now, over time, if you want to build strength, you can choose to have little weights in your hand, or you can choose to have the resistance band in your hand. Now, this is a progression, so never work through pain. You're holding it, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. It's first of all, get that stability, absolute stability. Imagine you have a ball or a bowl of soup on your lumbar spine, and you need stability of the main trunk of your body. Can you see, going from my shoulders to my pelvis, I have stability. I can balance a ball on my lumbar spine. So this is the progression with the bands, or you might want to put a loop band around your thighs or maybe a loop band around your ankles. Lengthen, lengthen, total stability. We'll just do one more either side. So this exercise is building all the core muscles around that spine. Core muscles in the front, your transverse abdominis, core muscles on either side of your spine, and the muscles in your waist. Really building all those muscles and your glutes. Now we're going to come down into Cobra. So we're in prone now. So make sure your shoulders, your elbows, are just on the outside of your shoulders. Your legs are at a soft V, and we're going to Cobra. So make sure you push your pubic bone into the mat, pull your belly button to the spine. You lengthen and lift your head and sternum, and try to push your chest out to the sun. Pull your belly button, spine, push your pubic bone into the mat, relax the bottom of your body. Try to keep an orange underneath your chin. And back to centre. I'm always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. So we're really creating flexibility now, trying to release tension in our lumbar spine. My chest is coming out to the sun. I'm keeping that orange underneath my chin. Pull your belly button, spine, push your pubic bone into the mat, relax the bottom of your body. You don't want to come off your thighs, you don't want to come off your pelvis. Now we're turning it into lizard. Lengthen and lift, Cobra. Now I'm going to push into my left hand and look out to the left. So on rotation of my upper spine, my pelvis doesn't come off the mat. So those hip bones are glued to the mat. And I'm trying to come off my left elbow and looking out to the left. Rotation of my upper spine and back to centre. Now I'm pushing into my right hand, looking out to the right. I'm trying to take my elbow off the mat and straightening my arm. I'm keeping my pelvis on the mat, rotation of my upper spine. So this is called lizard. And the aim is to get the elbow off the mat, hips. So my hips and my pelvis stay glued to the mat, rotation of my upper spine and back to centre. Now we're just going to see if we can come into a plank. So bring your elbows underneath your shoulders, palms of your hands on the mat. Now I'm going to bend one knee and then the other. I'm going to lengthen out my right leg, plank. Pull your belly button to the spine. Now over time, you're going to see if you can lengthen two legs. But that is a progression, and you don't want any pressure in your lumbar spine, and you really pull your belly button to the spine. So you can stay at plank with two legs. So I'm in Cobra, and I come up to plank. I'm really pulling my belly button to the spine, scooping my pelvis slightly. I can lengthen out one leg progression or lengthen out two. Or you stay at plank with your knees on the mat. And it's your own personal challenge. You stay there for as long as you want. Either two knees on the mat, lengthen out one leg or lengthen two. It's all about perfect alignment. Alignment from my shoulders to my hips. Pull your belly button, spine, tuck the tailbone under. And then we'll rest. We're going to come back into a child's pose. Stretching out that spine. Walk those hands forward. Knees are mat width apart or together. Push your chest into the mat. Sit on your heels and walk forward. C-curve your spine. Squeeze your glutes and come up to a quick cat stretch. Pull your belly button to the spine. Dip your chin to your chest, push into your palms. Tuck that tailbone under. We're going to come back into prone position. And just put your hands by your side and rock out your hips. So we're just releasing tension around our pelvis and our hips. Just rock out your hips. And we're going to come straight to one side. We're going to do the oyster. Now this really works your glutes. And your gluteus minimus and medius are attached to your pelvis. And it's your pelvis and your lower back that keeps you upright. Your pelvis and your lower back takes all the weight from the top of your body. And it's the And it's your gluteus muscles that keep your pelvis and your lower back in alignment. So it's really important to keep those glutes strong. Okay, so we've got various progressions here. Let's lie on your head is on your arm first of all, or your head can be in your hand. Make sure the soles of your feet are in line with your bottom. My shoulders down my back pockets. I'm always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. You can have your hand in front of you for support. Now, progression is your feet are glued together, it's floating up your feet. So level 1, we have our feet on the floor. Level 2, we float up our feet. So you choose the level that's good for you. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you float up your top knee. To float up your top knee. So we're building strength at the moment. Just to put that pelvis, keep that pelvis and lower back in alignment. So it stops you from coming out of alignment, causing injury and tension and stress to the rest of your body and back to center. My pelvis is not moving at all. I'm floating up that knee as high as it goes. Remember, my feet can be on the mat. Progression, float up those feet. They're glued together. So I float up that knee as high as it goes, oyster, and my pelvis doesn't move. The only thing that's moving is my leg, in my hip joint. And I'm floating up that knee without moving my pelvis. My shoulders are stacked. My hips are stacked. I'm relaxing the muscles in my leg. Relax your feet and open up as high as you can go. Now, over time, remember the progression is floating your feet. Start maybe with your feet on the mat. So I can really feel that's hitting my deep gluteus muscles. Now, progression over time, you float up your knee. Don't move your thigh and you lengthen out your leg. Don't move your thigh, foot to foot, and my knee floats back to center. So you choose the level that's good for you. Over time, you might start lengthening that leg, coming around the saucer one way, coming around the saucer in the opposite direction. I've relaxed everything. The only thing that's moving is my leg and my hip joint. So oyster. Lengthen out. We'll do a couple more. So you might be doing leg extensions or you might be doing classic oyster. You don't want to feel any pressure in your lumbar spine. So this is really building the deep gluteus muscles. And back to center, and we'll just pat it out. Now we're just going to do open book or arm opener. Again, it's a nice deep stretch. This is all about flexibility and release and tension in this move. So you've got your knees bent in front. You can either have this position, progression, you lengthen your top leg diagonally across. With or without a band, the band is progression. You're lying on the edge of your block. Palm to palm. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, I lengthen my top arm, longer my bottom, and I open up my book. Arm opener. Now I'm lengthening my top leg diagonally across. Either have your leg bent. If you can, you lengthen your top leg diagonally across. Lengthen through the hip joint. Relax the muscles. My head follows my hand. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, pull your belly button to the spine and bring your hand back to center. I lengthen my top arm, longer my bottom. I open up my book. Lengthen your arms through the shoulder joints. You get a deeper stretch. Lengthen through the hip joint. And back to center. So we're really rotating our upper spine only. Lengthening through the shoulder joints. Lengthening through the hip joints. Feeling a deep stretch down the lateral side, but my pelvis stays completely vertical. Progression, you can have weights in your hand, or progression, you can have the resistance band in your hand. So we just pat it out and we go straight to the other side. So we're going to start with the oyster. Remember, you can have your head in your arms, your head in your hands. The soles of your feet are in line with your bottom. My hips are stacked, my shoulders are stacked, my shoulders down my back pockets. Now, I'm in 2 panes of glass. If I straighten my legs, my body's in 2 panes of glass. But I'm bending my knees slightly out in front, but my upper body's in 2 panes of glass. Soles of your feet are glued together. Your feet can be on the mat, or progression, float your feet up. Now I float up my leg, oyster, my pelvis doesn't move. I'm floating up that knee as high as I can so I can really feel it in the glutes. We're building strength in the glutes at the moment. It's really important to build the strength in the deep gluteus muscles, the minimus and medius, And it's those glutes that keep the pelvis and lower back in alignment. Because it's your pelvis and your lower back that's taking all the weight of the top of your body. And those vertebrae right at the bottom of your spine are huge. That's because they should be taking the weight of the top of your body. So you need nice strong muscles to keep that pelvis and lower back in alignment in order for the pelvis and the lower back to stay in alignment and keep that lower spine, that lumbar spine in alignment, those big vertebrae. That's taking all the weight. Now, if you want to progress, remember this is a progression. You don't move your thigh and you can lengthen out your leg. Relax the muscles in your leg. Relax your foot. Foot to foot, my thigh doesn't move and my knee comes back to center. The only thing that's moving is my leg in my hip joint. I lengthen out, further progression. You can come around the saucer one way, come around the saucer the other. You choose the level that's good for you and progress it over time. Pelvis doesn't move, total stability. I'm lengthening through my hip joint. I'm switching off the muscles in my leg. I'm relaxing my foot. I feel that in the deep muscles. We're just doing, that was the final one, and pat it out. Now we're going to do arm opener or open book with or without a weight or a band. Remember, it's all a progression. Either have your knees bent in front, arms in front, palm to palm, or you can lengthen that top leg diagonally across. We're going to get a deep stretch down the lateral side. Take a breath in as you breathe out, lengthen your top arm longer than your bottom. I'm switching off the muscles in my leg and I'm lengthening through the hip joint. I feel a deep stretch down the lateral side. My hips are set in stone. My pelvis is not moving. Rotation of my upper spine. I'm lengthening my arms away from each other. Remember to relax the muscles in the legs and arms and lengthen through the joints. You get a deeper stretch. Pull your belly button to the spine. Really pull that rib cage in as you close your book. So I really feel I'm working the muscles on my lateral side. I'm working my obliques, my waist here. And those are those muscles that sit on the side on your waist, the obliques, are attached to your spine as well. They're your core muscles. Open up your book. Really lengthen your arms away from each other as you lengthen your leg, and it's rotation of the upper spine. So this movement is creating flexibility, but also strength, because as I close my book, if you've got a weight in your hand in a band, that's a progression, I can really feel I'm using the muscles in my waist to return my hand back to center. Close my book and just pat it out. Now we're going to just come into supine now, and just do a few cool exercises. So we're going to do the supine, and we're going to do a few little exercises. We'll deepen the deep core muscles, but we'll stretch first of all. Hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Now we're just going to circle our knees and release tension. You're holding in your hips, circling your knees one way and the other. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now we're just going to hug a knee to the chest, hip flexor stretch. You can either lengthen your right leg away or keep it bent depending on your flexibility. Then hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle, your ankle. Lengthen your leg up to the ceiling. Flex your foot and push into the heel. Circle your ankle one way and then the other. So we're just stretching all the muscles in the back of the legs and the glutes. This one just works on flexibility. Releasing so much tension you're holding in your body. Bend your knee, lengthen it away, and bring up the opposite knee. So either keep that left knee bent, depending on your flexibility, or lengthen through the hip joint. Relax the muscles, hip flexor stretch. Really hug the knee to the chest. Relax. The more you relax the muscles, the more you're going to create a deep stretch. So here we're Stretching the hip flexors is really important. Stretch the hip flexors. Now the hip flexors are your psoas muscle, huge muscle that attaches the bottom of your body to the top of your body. Now if you've got tight hip flexors, tight psoas muscles, it changes the angle of your pelvis. If you've changed the angle of your pelvis, it can cause lower back pain. So it's really important to keep this mobile. Now bring your knee up to tabletop. Tee your arms, horizontal alignment. Bring your knee across your body. Look in the opposite direction, pulling your belly button to the spine. You can put a little bit of pressure on your knee. Progression over time will be lengthening out that leg. So I'm rotating my lumbar spine, I'm rotating, I'm stretching out the muscles of my glutes, I'm stretching my thighs, I'm opening my chest, and I'm rotating my spine. Bend your knee, pull your belly button to spine, melt the rib cage into the mat, relax the leg and feel your core, so we're building strength from the core, bringing your knee back to center and swap over. Horizontal alignment of those shins. Bring my knee across my body, look in the opposite direction, pulling my belly button to the spine. You can put a little bit of pressure on your knee, progression, or lengthen out that leg. You can feel a deep stretch down the lateral side, bend your knee, and I'm using my core because I'm relaxing the muscles of my legs, pulling my belly button to the spine, and I'm bringing my knee back to center using my abs. And then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Now do a full body stretch. Pull your belly button to the spine, melt the rib cage into the mat, lengthen, lengthen. And back to supine. The next exercise we're going to do is going to be the pelvic tilt. So you're in supine, pubic bone, hip bone, completely horizontal. So we're just going to be tilting up the pelvis. Take a breath in, so you breathe out, squeeze the glutes. We're mobilizing the pelvis and just roll up to your lumbar spine, just to sort of the bottom of your vertebrae and back down to supine. So pubic bone, hip bone, completely horizontal, little arch to your lumbar spine. I've got very little pressure under the soles of my feet. Squeeze your glutes and roll up just to your first vertebrae and back down. So we're just tilting our pelvis, pelvic curl, and back to center. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and back to center. Now we're doing pelvic clock, so we're just mobilizing the pelvis. So imagine you have a marble, dead center of a clock. So your navel, your belly button, is 12 o'clock. Your hip bones are 3 and 6 o'clock. Your pubic bone, is 3 and 9 o'clock, and your pubic bone is 6 o'clock. So we're going to roll the marble from the center of the clock to 12. So I'm just doing a pelvic tilt now, and I'm rolling the marble over to 3 to 6. Now I'm creating an arch to my lumbar spine to 9 to 12. So I'm just drawing, the circle is going around the edge of the clock. Try to keep your knees and your thighs completely still if you can, and you're circling that marble, just mobilizing my pelvis around the clock 3 to 4 times. I'm going from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9 to 12. Now I'm rolling the ball back to the center. I've got my neutral pelvis. I'm coming in the opposite direction, rolling my marble to 12 to 9 to 6 to 3 to 12. And I keep on rolling that marble around the clock face. Pelvic clock. And back to center. So I roll it from 12 to center. I take my block away. We're going to do bridge now. Great stretch, great flexibility, and it works most of the muscles in your body. Progression will be having a band over your hips. So this is just going to release lots of tension. You're holding your pelvis and all the muscles in your body. Squeeze your glutes and slowly peel your spine off the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. Push into those heels. Come into that perfect ski slope. It's really important to tuck the tailbone under. Pull your belly button spine, hips up to the ceiling. By tucking that tailbone under, you're going to release tension you hold around your lumbar spine. And slowly roll back down again, tucking your pelvis, C-curve your spine, roll down from top to bottom. So really scoot that pelvis Really C-curve that spine. So you roll back to center and back to supine. Bowl asleep on my pelvis. Pubic bone, hip bone, completely horizontal. Little arch to your lumbar spine. Melt your rib cage into the mat. We're going to do it again. Squeeze your glutes and slowly peel your spine off the mat. We're going to keep on doing this. You can progression over the weeks. You might want to come onto your tiptoes. Tuck the tailbone under. So I'm scooping the pelvis. I'm in perfect alignment from my knees to my hips to my shoulders. And you can either roll back down again or lengthen your arms over your head, maintaining total stability of that ski slope. And we roll back down. So your hands can be either on the mat or lengthened over your head. Remember, it's a progression. Roll every single vertebrae down from top to bottom. And you float your hands back to center. We're doing one more. Squeeze your glutes and slowly peel your spine off the mat, one vertebrae at a time. Progression, you can come onto your tiptoes, tuck the tailbone under, hips up to the ceiling. You will either roll back down and you carry on, or you can lengthen your arms over your shoulders. Lengthen your knees and arms away from each other. I'm lengthening those arms over my head there, and tucking your pelvis, C-curve your spine, and roll down one vertebrae at a time from top to bottom. Feel every single vertebrae hitting the mat as you lengthen your arms over your head, lengthen through the shoulder joints, and I'll roll down one vertebrae at a time. Bring your hands back to center, and then hug your knees to your chest. We're just going to do toe taps now. So just always make sure you have the block underneath your head. For bridge, you didn't need it. Now, progression, you can have your hands on the mat. If you get pressure around the neck, you can just have your elbows on the mat and lengthen your hands up to the ceiling. Takes pressure or tension away from your neck. Level 2 will be having your arms lengthened up to the ceiling and you lengthen them over your head. So you just choose the level that's good for you for toe tap. So remember, progress over the weeks. I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. Or automatically I can feel I'm working my core because I'm on thin ice underneath the soles of my feet. Pubic bone, hip bone, completely horizontal. Little arch to my lumbar spine. And I'm bringing my knee up to tabletop, horizontal alignment, and back down to center. Bring my other knee up to tabletop, horizontal alignment, and back down to center. Maintain the 90-degree angle of that knee joint and back to center. We're building the core strength at the moment. So I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. I'm on thin ice. If you want to progress, float your arms up to the ceiling. If you want to progress further, you lengthen your arms over your head. Maintain the 90-degree angle of your knee joint, heavy in the hip. I've switched off the muscles in my legs. I've relaxed my foot. All the movement is coming from my hip joint. I'm really thinking about pushing my belly button to the spine, melting my rib cage into the mat. Now, if you want to progress further, you choose the hand position that's good for you. You might be here, or your hands might be on the mat, or you might be floating your arms up to the ceiling to release tension you have in your neck. Now, if you want to progress, you come up to tabletop and you dip your toe into the water. Maintaining total stability of the main trunk of your body. Pull your belly button to the spine. Melt that rib cage into the mat. I have a bowl of soup on my pelvis. I've got total stability. I'm lying on grains of sand, and the grains of sand are not moving. If you want to progress further, remember this is over time, over the weeks. You extend the angle of your knee joint and lengthen out your leg. It's all about absolute stability. I'm building my core strength now. The stronger your core is, all the muscles that are wrapped around your spine, you're going to be in that perfect posture, that perfect alignment. If you're in a perfect posture and a perfect alignment, it's less likely for injury, especially lower back pain. Do your final one and then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Now glue your knees together, glue your ankles together, soles of your feet on the mat, tee your arms. Over time, you're going to deepen the stretch and have your knees up to tabletop. But at the moment, our soles of our feet are on the mat. Drop your knees to the left, look to the right. Really lengthen your arms away from each other. Progression over time, remember you don't want to work through pain. You lengthen the top leg away, switch off the muscles, lengthen through the hip joint, relax that foot. I feel a deep stretch down the lateral side. Bend the knee.
Now this is where you're going to use your core. You're using your core strength. I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. I'm pulling my belly button spine, melting the rib cage into the mat, using my core to bring my knees back to centre, drop them over to the right, look to the left. You can either keep your knees bent, progression over time will be lengthening out that top leg. Switch off the muscles, it all comes from the hip joint because you're going to deepen the stretch. You're lengthening through the shoulder joints. Pull your belly button to the spine, look in the opposite direction. So now I'm getting a nice deep stretch, but I'm also lengthening through the hip joints, just working that core a little bit harder, building strength in my core. Bend your knee. Pull your belly button to spine, melt the rib cage into the mat and bring your knees back to centre. Now we're going to do hip opener. Your knees are hip width apart. Bowl of soup on that pelvis. You've got that perfect alignment. You're always being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head, little orange underneath your chin. Now we're going to do the hip opener. You choose the position of your arms. I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. I'm opening up my hip. I'm dropping my right knee to the side and back to centre. And then I drop my left knee to the side. I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. Hardly any pressure, my core switched on. I'm really thinking about pulling the belly button to the spine, melting my rib cage into the mat. Take a breath in. Try to synchronise the movements with your breath. So take a breath in as you breathe out. The hardest part of the movement should be an out breath, and you really got to think about pulling your belly button to spine, melting the rib cage into the mat. And I'm dropping my knee from side to side. Now progression will be tabletop, or keeping your soles of your feet on the mat, and you drop your right knee out to the side and you lengthen out your leg. Now you can do this with the soles of your feet on the mat or up to tabletop. You drop your left knee out to the side. My right knee has total stability. Remember, this is a progression over time. Lengthen through the hip joint, relax the muscles in the leg, relax the foot and back to centre. So this is a progression. So we're opening up our hip, a total stability of my left leg, my left knee as I lengthen out my right leg. Lengthen through the hip joint, and I'm still balancing that bowl of soup on my pelvis. You choose the arm position, that's good for you. We'll just do one more. We're dropping our right knee out to the side. You can either come back to centre or lengthen out that leg. Remember, it's a progression. We're working on our deep core strength at the moment. Bring your feet to the mat and then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. And now we're just going to do stretch out our glutes because we've been doing quite a lot of gluteus work. So our left ankle is on right thigh. Hug your right knee into the chest. Really relax that right foot. Hug that right knee into the chest so you feel a deep stretch of your left glutes. Really relax. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And gently put your foot down. And then right ankle on left thigh. Hug your left knee into the chest. Feel a deep stretch in your right glute. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And back to centre. Now we're going to slowly roll to the side and get up to seated. And just, you might want to sit on your block. We're just going to stretch out our lateral side. Lengthen up, shoulders down your back pocket. So really lift up your chest, shoulders down your back pocket. Stay weighted on your seat bones. Pull your belly button to the spine. And then lengthen your arms forward. So here we feel a stretch in our waist. Lengthen your arms forward. Lengthen through the shoulder joint. Look down at the mat. I feel a stretch down one side of my back. Open up your chest again. Shoulders down your back pockets. Lengthen through the shoulder joints. I feel a nice deep stretch in my waist. Lengthen over to the side. Pull your belly button spine. Shoulders down your back pockets. Don't stay weighted on your seat bones. Lengthen, feel the stretch in your waist and lengthen forward. Look down at the mat, lengthen through the shoulder joints. And open up. Feel the stretch in my waist again and back to centre. Now we're going to come to 4-point kneeling, because if you're suffering from that lower back pain, you're going to come up the same way as you got down. So you bring one foot forward, hold on to your thigh and come to standing. So we're just going to roll our shoulders, open up your chest, pull your belly button to the spine. Open up your chest, shoulders down your back pockets, lengthen up, orange underneath your chin, pull your belly button to the spine, knees hip width apart and forward. Take those shoulders out the back pockets, squeeze them together. And back to centre. We're just going to roll the spine again. So we're just going to stand with our feet, our legs apart, and our legs are at 45 degrees. So lengthen up, pull your belly button, spine, shoulders down your back pockets, hold on to your thighs. Progression, your elbows are on your thighs. Keep that nice straight back as you stick out your bottom, dip your chin to your chest, pull your belly button, spine, really suck in the rib cage and you come back up. We'll do one more. Come down, hands on your thighs or elbows on your thighs. Stick out the bottom. Elbows can be on your thighs or hands on your thighs. Nice straight back, protecting the lower spine. Dip your chin to your chest, pull your belly button, spine and roll back up. Lengthen up and thank you.